Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, that beat right there does it for me. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever just done something that you created and it just does it for you? That right there, that beat does it for me. I create that thing. I'm like, God Almighty, I gotta get that track sold. Maybe Bruce George or Linton who can help me get that joint sold. That thing right there is bananas. What's up? How y'all doing? Look at me. I'm so excited about today. You know why? Because it's another episode of When Black Kings Speak. And let me tell you, if you missed the first episode, you missed a treat. But don't you worry about it because I got a treat for you today. I mean, I got a good one today. We're gonna talk about some good stuff today, you guys. And listen, I'm so happy that y'all joining me. Listen to me carefully, please. I beg you. Share this on your platform. Let everybody know that the Black Kings are in the building. Yo, we on YouTube, on Dominion Seattle. We on my page, Alan Hunter. And guess what? We're on your page because you're sharing it on your page. It only takes a quick second just to hit that share and that like button and share it to your people. Let them know that we's in the building. And we got a great show today. I got some great guests today. And I'm really excited about it. And we're going to talk about some things today as black men and relating to black women, the relationship between black men and black women. It's on my heart because I've been through some things when it comes to Afro-American women, and I just want to see if anybody else going through what I've been through. I've been delivered with a T. I've been delivered, so I don't have an issue with no what I had an issue. But anyway, I want to bring in my guys, and we're having some technical difficulties with one of my brothers here, and we're gonna get this together. I need y'all to lift y'all hands right now and say, Lord, fix that cell phone. That's why I need you to power of prayer to fix that cell phone. I told somebody we need to go back to telephones because these cell phones are getting on my nerves. All these digitals, man. So anyway, welcome. We got a great show. So my first guest I'm gonna bring on. My first is let's see who I'm gonna bring on. Oh, y'all gonna bring on Linton. I'm gonna bring my dude on. Y'all listen, this man I'm about to bring on, Linton Weems, is a phenomenal guy, hands down. He's a phenomenal guy, hands down. And he's also an amazing musician, hands down. I mean, one of the best in the whole wide world. I mean, phenomenal keyboard player. Makes music, makes tracks, and he's married. So all you single women that say, "Oh, you look good," he's taken. Sorry, okay, sorry, he's taken. I do not want his wife beating me up. I don't want Carla coming up to Seattle beat me up. But listen, this dude is on point. He's a good friend of mine. We've been knowing each other for a long time. He started in Seattle and then moved to Houston. And what's so funny, I started in Seattle, moved to Houston, and we ran into each other in a movie section, in a movie theater. We're like, what you doing here? What you doing here? We're like, hey. And we reconnected, man. And I want to bring him on. Y'all give a big shout out and a rah hoo for my man, Linton Weems Eugene Jr. That man got so many names. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? What's going on? I'm good, man. It's good to see you again, man. Yeah, that movie theater was a trip. When we met, right? Man, I was walking through, I was like, what? Had to do a double take. That was crazy, man. And correction, I love Seattle. I got all my people there. I'm from Tacoma, T-Town, Washington. I'm from T-Town, sir.
T-Town. Well, listen, let me tell you something. Everybody moving to Tacoma, though. So Tacoma's becoming a new Seattle. We got to work on y'all smell. We got to work on the smell, Doc.
Really? As long as we work on y'all's grunge up there. Y'all ain't got nothing but grunge. Nothing but grunge and coffee.
It's homeless and coffee.
See? You wrong.
Yeah. So, all right. So, man, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you. You are a man of wisdom, and people are getting ready to go. Man, they're about to be blown away when they hear your wisdom, man. Because it's so awesome. So thank you so very much, man. Thank you so very much. Okay, so my next guest, his name is Bruce George. And I just met this young man. And listen, this man is straight wisdom too. He's a genius. He's a genius. And I want, I'm going to say this real quick. I met him through a mutual friend of ours, JT. If you in the building, man, what's up, boss? Because it's your connection that got me connected to this man right here. This is a legend. Let me tell y'all something about this guy that y'all about to meet. Bruce George. He's the co-founder of Def Jam Poetry. That was on HBO. Yeah, huge, man. Like, Bruce, man, and he has a new movement. I'm gonna let him tell you about it. Geniusiscommon. He's gonna tell you about that. Let me bring him on. Y'all know I'm trying to do all this by myself. I need a producer, an engineer, because I can't be doing all this and be hype and excited at the same time. So I bless me. Just y'all pray for me. Bruce, what's the deal, son?
Yo, what's up, my brother? How are you, sir?
Yeah, it's not cool. Calm, collected.
Right. That's right. Well, first and foremost, man, I want to thank you for having me on your show, Brother Allen. I want to thank the listeners and the viewers and the watchers for watching in. I want to thank the good Lord for blessing us to be here, and thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Yes, sir. For a moment, I thought you had switched to Tom Loke. We got Tom Loke in
Okay.
I know you're a celebrity, but I thought you would put him on platform for a moment. I got no love for you.
It's all good.
Man. Can you just briefly tell them who you are, what your accomplishments, and then I'm gonna move to my next guest.
Okay. Yeah, first and foremost, I'm a lover of God. I'm a child of God. My work is my ministry. I'm a social activist. I was one of the founders of Def Poetry Jam on HBO with Russell Simmons. Danny Simmons and Deborah Pointer, shout out to them. We're all co-founders of Def Poetry Jam on HBO. We wound up getting a Peabody Award for 6 seasons on HBO and a Tony Award for the Broadway version. I was the town executive at HBO and executive consultant to the Broadway show. And the rest, as they say, is history. I'm the founder of the Geniusiscommon movement, which basically is an anti-elitist movement. We're about taking the elitism out of the word genius. Thus, we are an anti-elitist movement. We have a presence in all 50 states, 14 countries, with 18 ambassadors and growing. So I thank God for that. And I'm looking forward to talking about that and other things.
That's amazing. I appreciate you. So let me do this while we sitting, Linton, because please forgive me. The producer's like, hey, that's not fair. You didn't give Linton the opportunity. And I'm sorry, because I got excited when I see my man Linton. But can you please tell everybody who you are, what you do, and blah, 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 all that good stuff. And we're going to work on my man Sam, trying to figure him out, see what's up with that. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, man. First, thank you again. As Bruce said, I'm honored to be here and to be able to share with you all the little bit of knowledge that I have, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I'm also a music director. I'm also a producer. I'm an independent producer, musician in the local area of Houston. I've played several different people, and then that's just been my call and my journey for the last 20 years. And so I'm excited, man. I love knowledge. I'm a life learner. So I never stop learning, whether it's music, whether it's life, whether it's whatever. I've just made it my business to continue to learn and grow from anybody, from any age, from any person. You can always, any experience is always a lesson. There's always a lesson in it. And so that's how I've chosen to just to live and to grow from there, man. So long story short, let's get it popping, man.
Let's get it. I love it. Let's get it popping. Did y'all hear that? Let's get it popping.
That's right.
For real. So I don't know what's going on with my other guest, my brother Sam. He's having some issues with the phone, I guess. So I guess we'll just wait for him to come on. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So listen, fellas, let's do this. Let me see how I can make this do what it do. Let's see.
Here we go.
All right. Let's see. All right, Sam popped in, but it's on black screen. Hold on for a minute, guys. Let me see something. Sam.
Yes, sir.
We can't see you. You're in the dark, brother.
Man, I don't know what's wrong.
You gotta come to the light, sir.
They trying to stop me. The devil trying to stop me, man. But I'm here.
Okay,
my voice. It ain't about me. It's about Jesus, Doc. It ain't about me.
Well, listen, Sam. Before I'm gonna introduce you real quick, but let me say this about this man right here. He's really special to me, because when my wife and I was broken and down and out, this man paid for our wedding.
Wow.
I'm gonna get choked up in this. He's my little brother. The Lord blessed him with, to have his own establishment, his company. And I ain't gonna never forget this. We were walking on Westheimer. Woo! I'm getting teary eyed. We were walking. You remember that, baby? We were walking on Westheimer. And if everybody know, Westheimer is a very busy street. It's and we were walking on Westheimer coming from McDonald's, I think. And this man saw me walking and stopped in the middle of the street, literally stopped in the middle of the street and honked his horn and said, "Hey, what are you doing walking?" I said, "Who is that?" And he got out this nice SUV, and it was my brother Sam. He said, "Man, what are you doing? Get over here. Where you going? I'll take you where you going." And he took me home and asked me, "Why are you walking?" I told him what's going on. He said, "Look here, don't worry about it. I got you. Y'all gonna work for me." And then we worked for him, and then he paid for our wedding. And I owe my life to him, man. I mean, Samuel Walsh is my dude. He's a phenomenal musician, MD. And Sam, I just want to tell you publicly, although you did that privately, thank you so very much. I love you so very much. I love you and your wife. And I got y'all. And, as I come into my kingdom, I ain't gonna forget about you guys. So, Sam, if you can, just explain to everybody who you are, what you do, what you got going on, and we're gonna get started. Okay?
Sam Ross. I guess I've been in Houston long enough to call myself a native here. I done lived a little bit of everywhere, but musician, producer, musical director for a few artists at this point. Minister of music at my church. I love God, my family, and that's all I can really say. We're here to help each other be better. That's about it.
That's right.
Sir. Yes,
that's what's up, man. I appreciate you so very much. Y'all, even though you can't see Sam, there's something going on technical, but he's going to be via his voice. So we really appreciate you. Thank you for your time. And so let me say this, and we're getting started. Remember, we're candid. We ain't pastors today. We ain't ministers of music. We ain't prophets. We ain't elders, and we ain't evangelists and apostles. We are black men with issues, and we're going to talk about some issues, and we're going to get some stuff solved. And we're going to love on each other, and we're going to love people that's going to love on us. So is that fair? Is that okay with everybody?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Amen. Amen. Praise hallelujah. So let's get started. So here's my first question. Now, okay, so the topic, once again, we're talking about black men that may have issues with black women and why. So these black men hate black women. Is that fact or is that fiction? These men hate black women because of maybe the way we're treated. So we're going to talk about those things. And women that are out there that's viewing this, please weigh in your opinion, weigh in your question. Put on a grid, your answer as best as you can. And so, y'all, this is all a testimony. This is a healing testimony. So my wife and I was talking, and she said, babe, when we first got together, she said, you have an issue with black women. I said, no. She said, matter of fact, you don't like black women. You don't like us. I do like you. I said, no, I don't. I said, what makes you think that? Because she gave me her reasoning why. And I began to think, well, maybe I do, but why? Why do I dislike them? And I began to tell her, well, because of the way I was treated in my past when it came to black women, because that's all I knew, what I dated, right? I had my curiosity with other races, but my thing was just black women. My mother was like, no, you black, you like black women, Okay. So, but I had some issues because of how I was treated by black women, So I had issues with them, with my ex-wives, even some of the ones I dated. I had issues with them. But then my wife helped me understand some of those issues could have been that you perfectly. You know what I mean? So once I began to understand that some of the actions my characteristics cause some of those hurts, then I began to say, you know what, I shouldn't hate black women. I shouldn't hate, I shouldn't hate women, period. Because I actually started hating women, period. It just started with me, dating a black woman, but it is what it is. But I got set free from it. So I want to talk about that today, and I want to ask some questions and get y'all's opinion and what you think about it. So my first question is this: do you think that a black man can love his mom but not his wife or his black woman? Let me say it again. Do you think that a black man can love his mom but not his black woman, or not the black woman? Who wants to go first? George, you open your mouth, so you going first.
Yeah, I don't mind answering that. Absolutely, you can. I mean, a lot of people say that men have a tendency to gravitate towards women that are similar to their mothers, right? But a lot of times we end up with women that are not similar to our mothers. So you can indeed love your mother and not have love for that woman, that black woman, or what have you. So it really depends upon the woman. It depends upon the chemistry between the both of you. It depends upon, are you evenly yoked or not, right? Like is drawn to like, opposites don't attract. That's in chemistry, not in human relationships. Van Zandt said in Acts of Faith, you attract who and what is on your way. Pierre de Chardin, the French philosopher, said, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Dr. Wayne Dyer said, it's not the notes that makes the music, it's the silence in between the notes that makes the music. So we're like tuning folks. So like is drawn to like, right? And so if you're with someone that is like-minded or like-spirited, or if you are on an even keel with them, then it's going to be a lot better than if you weren't. So, so you can love a woman, you love your mom and not love a woman, and she's not evenly yoked with you. That's my take on that.
My God, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so who wants to? Listen, you want to land on that one, bro?
Yeah, I'll weigh in. I'm going to take it from. I had a great relationship with my mom early on, and then some things happened personally, and I said, and I gravitated to someone who wasn't like my mother, and so I went and actually found the opposite of my mother, and thought that's what I actually wanted. But what it was is that it was actually, I was actually running from something. And so in the midst of running from what I actually liked, I actually ran to something that was the opposite of what I wanted. And it took me years to get past and see, and it wasn't. Now, then you have to ask the question, was that woman's fault, or was that my fault and my deficiencies? Because of what I felt about my mother. And so a lot of times it's and to answer your question, yes, it's absolutely possible to love your mother, because deep down I loved my mom. And then I came to the point of not, I said, I even told my wife this, I said, y'all don't judge me, but I said, man, I'm not gonna marry no black woman. I'm not gonna marry no black woman. I'm gonna get somebody else. And who know how to act and who know how to talk. And I said all that kind of stuff. But I said those things not looking at myself and not looking at my own deficiencies that caused me to get in other relationships that weren't profitable. And so it's not until you can love yourself, heal yourself, and really look at life not through skewed or obscure glasses, but that you can look at things clearly, and then you'll be able to see how to love someone clearly, how to treat someone clearly, and your deficiencies won't lead you into all these different lanes and all these different things. So for me, it was gravitating towards someone who was the opposite of my mother. And I know, because I remember Bruce mentioning, yes, we do gravitate. Now, the woman I'm married to now is more like my mom than anybody I've ever dated, which is wild. But I got back to that place after healing, after looking at my own deficiencies and looking at the things that I needed to get right within myself. Then I evolved to that place. And it just so happened, Bruce, to be like mom. And so, which was interesting. But until I got to that place of healing myself, I was gravitated to everything that was, you know, that could have done me some harm.
Wow.
Wow, that's so Sam. What is your take on? Were you able to hear the question?
I feel like you know, as black men, we're raised, you know, find a black woman ain't nothing better than black. But then as we live, we find out that other cultures are raised differently. You go to the Chinese culture, most times, not all, most times women are very submissive, don't really have much to say. Same in the Middle Eastern culture. Different cultures do different things. So I believe it depends on your perception and your reality to determine what type of woman that it is that you want. Me personally, the crazy, all of that of a black woman, I love. You know, it's nothing better than a black woman to me. That's just me personally.
Amen.
But,
yes, sir.
I feel like, again, so to answer your question, yes, it's true that you can love your mother and not love a black woman. But if you're raised in the deep hardening of you wants a black woman, it don't matter which way she's coming, that's what you're going to want.
That's pretty good. So here let's do this. Why do you use submission against black women? Why do we use submission against black women? Why do you feel like we use submission against black women? I want to know. I want to know that.
When you say submission, when you say use submission against black women, you mean in what regard? Meaning to have them submissive towards us?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, let's go there.
Or you mean using it as a term as you don't submit or you don't know how to?
That's a good one too. See, it can be used either way.
Because some men do.
I tell you what, Bruce. Why don't you answer from your point, and then Linton answer from your point. Okay. Let's compare. Let's compare them. Go ahead.
Right. I love it. There's a quote by Casanova that said about Casanova, the great lover, that said, Casanova loved many women, but he broke few hearts. There was another quote that said, by Casanova himself, that said, I don't conquer, I submit. Right? And you see, the thing is, a lot of men have fallen into this whole alpha clique thing that they have going on now. Now it's all about, I'm alpha, I'm not beta, right? And so everybody's top dog, everybody's hard, everybody's eating rocks. Right. And then at the same token, they become very insensitive. They become very, narcissistic. OK, you get a lot of people that are very narcissistic that have this deep-seated or deeply rooted or seated sense of I'm alpha. I come first. It's all about me, and you do what I say. That's not going to work with anybody. I mean, it might work with other women, but with black women, you're going to definitely get blowback and pushback from that. Obviously, and for all the right reasons that they should resist that, But it's about us as black men being able to be diverse. So sometimes we know when to be alpha, and sometimes we know when to be a little on the beta side and have that more sensitive side to us. So for me, it's not about having them submit. It's about them being able to be who they are, you accepting us or us accepting them for who they are. And if it's somebody that we're with that we can't accept for who they are, then why are you with them? Right? It's about respecting each other. That doesn't because, it's about us respecting each other. There's a time when I need to concede. There's a time when a woman needs to concede. Right? And when that time is, because the spirit would dictate itself. Right? And so, but a lot of us, we don't listen to that. The spirit would say, you know what, stand down. But with the ego would say, you know what, stand up. Right? And that's why you get all of this headbutting and all this nonsense, because we're not really focusing on what we really should focus on, which is having understanding, being evenly yoked, communication, having proper communication with each other, and putting that pride and ego aside.
Okay, so so Bruce, let me ask you this, and then we're gonna move to Linton, and I'm gonna move to Sam on that. Are you saying that Black women aren't submissive or can't behave when you say what you say?
No. They can be. I mean, they can be. They can be submissive, but I think a lot of men have a tendency to try to make them be submissive in ways that is just totally, disrespectful, or not respectful of their independence, not respectful of them as having that sense of who they are, right? And we have a tendency to just kind of like, it's all about me and you do what I say, and and that's not gonna fly.
That's not gonna fly. I love that. Linton, weigh in on what from your perspective, and then I'm gonna go to Sam, and So go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna say I agree with Bruce. I think it's when you fall into those areas where, how can I say this? When you have one that's dominant, and then when you have one that's not. And so Bruce, you go into those situations and you're going, I accept you for you, I accept you for who you are. But when that person, if that is a dominant person, then that person, then if you decide to accept that person who you are, you have to have someone who is doing the same thing on the opposite end. If they're not doing that and they have that alpha female perspective, then this is my analogy of submission. All of us, we both end up at a four-way stop. And so at some point, if no one decides to stop, we're going to crash.
That's right.
And so when you get to the four-way stop, you have to give someone the right of way. And I think that being equally yoked, being submitted to God, gives you a humbleness that allows you to be able to see from a different perspective. If there's no submission to God, it's going to be hard to submit to anybody or be humble to anybody. And so I say, when you get to that four-way stop, somebody has got to yield. And so that's submission. That's all submission is yielding. At some point, when a decision has to be made, when things have to, if I just say I'm going to do this and you're going to do this, and then we get into it, and between me and my wife, one of us ends up on the couch, who won? If we end up in a car accident, somebody dies, who won? Because somebody didn't submit, because somebody didn't yield. And so that's the perspective that I was looking at, Alan, in terms of why we submit and how we submit. And this is what people forget is that if you build a platform and you have columns, this platform is submitted to the columns. If in a construction term, it's a submission that this platform is submitted to these columns. And a lot of times we look at submission as a bad thing.
Right. Exactly.
And we use it as like what you were saying, Bruce, we use it as a bad thing. And so submission, that's why I mentioned the four-way stop. It's no more than us just yielding in order to be able to make a proper decision and discuss. But if we just keep running through the stop signs, somebody's gonna crash.
That's a good point.
That's the point that I was making, is that it's a submission to one another that really, and I think that's more along the lines of what Bruce was saying, a respect and a submission to one another that really helps you move forward. Go ahead, man.
That was a good point. You made a very good point. I wrote a quote. I'm a master quoteologist, so if I get with a lot of the quotes,
we're loving it, man. I'm loving hearing it.
And I appreciate that, man. I wrote a quote where I said, "Alpha male, alpha female, boom." All right. So when you have an alpha male and an alpha female, boom, that's explosion. That's explosion right there. Right. And so the thing is, I really appreciate the four corner. I love that metaphor where you're right. Somebody has the yield. And you see a lot of times when we get caught up in this, I'm alpha and she could be out for herself. And then it's like, you know,
Right.
I'm not yielding. And then it becomes very explosive and the relationship becomes very cantankerous. And the next thing you know, it becomes toxic and you wind up going your separate ways.
Right.
You know, so I appreciate you expressing that metaphor. That was dope.
Yes, that's what's up. So let me ask this, and I'm not going to go to Sam, but let me ask this question since we're in it. So why do you think, and maybe Sam, you can start off with this answer with this question. Why do you feel like when Black men and women come together, it seems to be so much of a war, of a struggle? Who's going to run what? Who's going to do what? And you know, who's going to make this decision? Who gets the last decision? Since we're going to talk about the alpha male and the alpha female, why is it? Cause it seems like sometimes when I look, it seems like it's a war when it comes to our community. You know, so I want to weigh in on that. So Sam, tell me, what do you think about that?
Okay, personally, I feel like the war comes. How do I say this the right way? The war comes from previous, not from present.
Right.
So when I say that, I mean, oh, I done been hurt by 10 men before you, and you not gonna do this, and you not gonna do that, and you not gonna do this, and you not gonna do that. Just like a man. Man, the last woman I was with, she didn't do this, or she didn't do that, or she did this and didn't do that, and I don't want that. So we immediately walk into relationships with walls up.
Immediately.
And at the first sign, glance of anything from past, oh, it's a problem because you're not gonna treat me how Betsy did, or you're not gonna do me how Mike did. So it's immediately a problem when it's like, wait, hold on, that's not even the angle that I was taking with that. Like, you got to get to know, and so to answer your question, I feel like the war comes because there's no real getting to know. The society has become more of, hey, she look good and got a big behind. Hey, girl, he fine and got some money. So that's all that matters in this society. So when we become the people that want to know each other better, that will make a better relationship walking in.
That's a very good point. He's spot on with that.
Yeah.
Definitely spot on with that, bro. Like, I mean, that is like so dope what he said, because we forget, a lot of times we forget the fact that there is a movement afoot and has always been a movement afoot to divide and conquer the Black man and the woman, to divide us, right? It goes back to, and I'm talking about how it goes back to commercials, the old Tide commercials, where you would see the Black woman with the children, but you would never see the Black man.
Absolutely.
Or whenever you would see the Black man and the Black woman, you would never see wedding rings. So all of those things was designed. Look at the whole child support system, the 3 strikes. You can't, a Black woman can't be with a man if he has a felony, if she's on child support. So all of those different things are set up to divide us. We get fired from our jobs quicker than a Black woman will, because they don't want us to be the head of household. They don't want the Black man to be the head of household. And they do everything they can to make it that much more challenging for Black men to be the head of household. So now you have all these women head of household, right? And you got these Black men living with these women, okay, you know, head of household, and that causes friction. And then you have the Black men not being able to make money, as you know, a lot of the ones that were incarcerated or whatever, you know, so they're not making a proper amount of money. They're making more money than the Black men, a lot of the Black men. So that causes friction. So there's a lot of precipitating and predisposed factors that plays into the animus that a lot of Black men and the Black women have towards each other. Khalid Muhammad, God bless him, he was a member of the New Black Panther Party. His son, Farrar Gray, Dr. Farrar Gray said it best. He said, behind every no good woman is a no good man that made her that way. Okay, and so the brother alluded to that earlier, you know, when he made those powerful comments. So yeah, a lot of women have been burnt, right? A lot of men have been burnt. And so it's one of those things like, you know what? I'm going to burn you first before you burn me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Or I'm not going to let you hurt me. So I'm going to hurt you first. And you see,
and that's where the fight comes. That's where
the fight comes.
Because everybody's trying to get the leg up instead of saying, hey, let's sit down, let's sit back, let's figure out how we can work us out.
And then you have a society who's not
gonna work with me.
They're not promoting for us to do that either. They're not promoting for us to talk and get together and do any of that. And the biggest thing is, they're scared. Yeah, because when we get together, when we stand together, man, listen. My wife, where I am right now, and what's funny, Bruce, you said that behind every no good woman's no good man. I heard a story of someone who said this guy, he drove up to a 7-Eleven. He said he saw an old friend of his wife's, and he told his wife, he said, "Babe, aren't you glad you married me? Aren't you glad you married me?" And she said, if I had married him, he'd be sitting where you sitting. And that was just a testament of when you find someone who can back you, be your support, and it goes back to what Sam said. He said it's all about being how you were raised. A lot of times, because a lot of black women, some black women, even black men, so it's not just one or the other, but how you were raised and how you were brought up and your expectations of that person. When those are tainted, then when you get in, when those are tainted, that when your expectations are failed, by the time you get into a relationship and you realize, wow, this man, he don't take out the trash. He want to play video games. He won't open my car door. There's an expectation that some women have that totally jolt them when they don't get it. And but it's the same thing with men though. Like this is not a tell off, but my clothes weren't really getting ironed and I wasn't expecting them to. But my wife grabbed my clothes one day and she said, "Babe, let me iron your shirt." I went like this. I said, "What?" I was like, "What, you gonna iron my shirt?" So expectation and trust is a huge thing. Like Sam was saying, when those walls are built up, those walls are built up because of a lack of trust. I don't want to take up all the time, but
hey, to touch on one thing, then Flat, I got you. Hold on. To touch on one thing. Sometimes we enter into situations because of the outward appearance, but we don't realize that what our expectation is in our mind has never been the bar for somebody else in theirs.
Ooh, bro.
Right.
Listen.
So I grew up in the hood, quote unquote, never had to do too much for a man, but then I get a man who expects me to iron, cook, clean, do all this and all that. For the first year and a half, 2 years, it's gonna be a problem because we trying to figure out, why do you have an attitude because I'm not doing this and that when I've never done this all my life.
Right.
Wow. So
has never been set.
I love that. I mean, when y'all dropping some, hold on, man. Let me tell y'all, y'all dropping some great knowledge. Yeah, for real. I'm like, yo, so honored. You guys are really dropping this, man. This is so deep. This is so powerful. Let me ask you this. Since we're talking, I like George, how you, man, my God, how you really brought that back about the Tide commercials and how what we used to see, our image. And that really plays a lot. That's really good. So let me ask you this. So do you think black men and women are unspokenly mad at each other because of the image or because of maybe how we were treated in slavery? Let's go back to slavery.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I knew that's where I was going. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, because of the thing is, when you talk about post-traumatic slave syndrome, it's really not post-traumatic because we're still going through it. So it's black traumatic slave syndrome. And not in post. You feel me? And so the thing is, we did not protect them. We in other words, the black woman was looking at it like we were supposed to protect them from being enslaved. And we didn't do that. A lot of people are real quick to forget that part of history where the Europeans were afraid to go into inner parts of Kenya and certain parts of Nigeria and certain parts of Ghana. They were afraid because of the fact that they were afraid of catching diseases, malaria, and all sorts of other different things. And we had the antibodies. So a lot of us, what we would do is we would go and bring, the people that we enslaved to them. We enslaved ourselves. And then we would bring them to them for sugar, for wine, for guns. You know what I mean? A lot of people forget that part of history.
Right.
Right? A lot of us forget that part of history. A lot of us made it easier for them because we brought them to them. Our own women, our own men, we brought them to them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's deeply rooted in their DNA. They didn't forget that.
Right.
Right? So I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, okay, let's do this real quick because my next question, let me ask this question, and then I want to go to some comments that are made. Okay, so to what we're saying, how do we apologize? Freeze. How do we apologize? Think about it. How do we apologize for that? Now, I just put this comment up, and I want her to explain this. Lord have mercy. She says,
that's what I was laughing at. That's what I was laughing at.
I love her to death. She's such a sweetheart. She said, when I get married, you better buy.
That is funny to me.
Clothes. Now, look, disclaimer, I don't know what what's been said, but you put it out there. Can I just be real? Can I just be real, y'all?
Absolutely.
What in the hell do you mean, Ms. Parsons? What do you mean when you get married, he better buy non-wrinkly clothes? Are you saying you don't want to iron? You don't like to iron?
She's saying that dryer her best friend, Doc.
Right. Hey, listen. A dryer and a sheet and some Febreze. Listen. And wait. Let me clarify that I didn't ask my wife to do this. This is something she was raised by her great grandmother, her grandmother, and her mother. And when you go back to what Sam was saying about how people were raised, there are some things that in her expectation to do for a man isn't how she was raised. So for me to actually marry someone else who didn't have that experience and expect that would be wrong of me. You understand what I'm saying? But the fact that that's how she was raised, then she'll do things sometimes. And it's not for one of us. I think we judge each other's relationships too much based on what's needed in that relationship. My relationship is not going to look like Bruce's. It's not going to look like Sam's. It's not going to look like yours. I said, and to your question, you said, how do we heal it? We don't. We live it. We be it. Because what we need to do is be who we're supposed to be. That will automatically heal whatever needs to be there. There's not nothing we can say. There's not something there's nothing we can say. It's all in what we need to do. It's in how we need to live. It's how we need to protect. It's in our doing that we need to do these things. It's not in, you can't say enough because it's time. It's time.
That's a good point, though. I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
It just takes time. But consistently, it's not inconsistent, but consistent time. I'm learning that the more consistent I am in my life in areas, I'm starting to see the fruit of things in my life just from mere consistency. Not from just grinding, but a consistent grind and staying consistent. That right there, being a consistent protector, being a consistent communicator, being a consistent lover, being a consistent, being a consistent provider. Those things, however we're doing them in a healthy way, not in a toxic way, in a healthy way, that right there in itself over time brings healing. It just starts happening because we're in position. A lot of times we're just not in position to be able to love, provide, take care of, speak to, communicate with our women. We're just not in position to do that. And then they don't trust us. When we're not in position, they won't trust. You've got to get in position and then be consistent, and then trust will be established. But you can't say, trust me, and then you remain inconsistent and toxic in a woman's life. You can't do that.
No, you can't do it. And let me jump in real quick. First of all, you were spot on with that. I'm going to give you an example. of what's happened. And this is why they mistrust us. And a lot of them don't respect us because you're right, it's in the doing, not just apologizing. You get these spineless Negroes, because that's what they are, spineless Negroes that are seeing a woman getting beat up and they're filming it on Facebook live.
Idiots.
Okay, idiots. You know, I'm going to tell you, that's not happening on my watch.
Right.
Okay, especially a black woman. You feel me? Ain't no black woman getting beat up around me. That's a free get out of jail card. You feel me?
Right.
So the bottom line is, when a woman is in a black man's life, she should feel very much protected. Right. Absolutely, she should feel protected. Right. And those that don't, they need to step up their game or get out of the way and let somebody else do it, handle it. Right. That's it.
So let me say this, because Miss Frankie, hold on, Miss Frankie let's see what she said. Let's see what she said. Let's see what she said here. She said, I'm not going to, and he better cook, clean, and all of that, for real. I am going to be good. Pray for me. So let me ask you this, Miss Frankie, to everybody. Let me ask y'all this. So the black women know how to serve and not how to be submissive. I'm just asking.
You said, do they know how to be served and not how?
Do they know how to serve and not know how to be submissive? Is that it?
Well, if they don't bend, I mean, that's not a relationship. I mean, if a woman is not willing to bend, you know, and be of service, because it's about not just them serving us, it's us serving them, and knowing when. You know, I mean, there's a time to serve and there's a time to be served. And if it's all about them, you know, just being served and not serving, that's not a relationship. You know, it's not balanced. You know, and that's not going to work with me. That might work with somebody else, but you know, it's about, you know, it has to be evenly yoked. It has to be balanced.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. But check it out. What I will say though is that the point is being willing to bend. That's the whole thing. It's being willing. Being willing. There may be some things you didn't do before you got married, and I promise you, after you get married, everything's 100 times magnified. Whether you live together or not, after you say them vows, after you make that covenant, it magnifies 1,000 times. But this is the thing: it's how well are you able to serve? How me and my wife, we can be upset with each other, but if what we're going to do tonight requires her cooking, she's still gonna cook. If I'm mad at her and what I have to do today is take out the trash, I'm still gonna take out the trash. If I'm mad and it's not her time to cook and she's busy doing something and I gotta cook, we're still gonna see about each other's needs no matter what we're feeling like. And that's relationship. That's love. It doesn't just stop. You're serving, your love and anger and frustration and miscommunication does not stop your consistency in your relationship. That's how we can continue to grow. The issue is when we stop doing all these different things that we say we love each other, and then somebody gets mad at the drop of a hat. I can't cook and I'm closing my legs and we can't have sex. No, that's completely wrong, and it's unbiblical, and that's unrealistic. And then you put your man, a lot of times I'm closing my legs because you did this. Now, I'm not talking about super toxic things. I'm talking about you're just upset and you're frustrated. You think you have a right to shut down your body, or you have a right to just not cook and not do the normal things that make your household function. No, we don't have a right to do that. In a covenant relationship, we don't have a right just to shut down. So that's why I admire and I appreciate the maturity and growth in me. Because I was that dude. I was that immature guy. I was that person. I was the immature guy that cheated. I was that immature guy that had deficiencies in me that I couldn't understand, and I couldn't understand my wife and my ex-wife and all those different things. I couldn't understand it because I had deficiencies in me, and that's the thing that many people have to own up to. You have to own up to your own deficiencies before you start judging and calculating the right and wrongs in the relationship. Remember your own deficiencies. And so that is, but like I said, love doesn't stop when you're upset and when you're angry and when you're frustrated. Love doesn't stop. The function of the household doesn't stop. And that's where we get emotional. We get tied up in all this stuff, and we let the enemy, whether it be a man, whether it be a woman, whether it be all these things in between, it don't stop just because you get upset and just because she don't iron something, just because she don't do something. That don't stop my grind. That don't stop me protecting her. That don't stop me loving her. That don't stop nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just read a comment. Now, I want to ask. I want to go to what Velma said something. I want to go to her too. But okay, AJ, another good friend of ours, she said this. This is so powerful. She said, "Has man set a consistent example of submitting to Christ?"
Mm.
Okay, well, I have a question. Wait. Can I respond to that? But listen. If he hasn't, what are you gonna do? Because that's the problem. Is that a lot of times we forget that if you're in a covenant with somebody, this is the problem. Who was it? I think it was I forgot what preacher it was. His wife. He was going to church before he was a preacher. His wife kept going to church. She said, "I got revival tonight. I got revival. I'm gonna go on to revival. I'm gonna go to revival." The preacher told her, "Go home and cook your husband some biscuits." He was unsaved, sitting at home. Go home and cook your husband some biscuits and give him some sex. Do that.
Hallelujah.
Go home and cook your husband some biscuits and ride him real good. Do that. And then after that, he said he was mad she was going to church. He left her in the car, had her sleeping in the car. She came back in the house, fixed his food for him. That man is one of the greatest preachers. I think it was he's one of the greatest preachers that have ever hit the face of the earth because of his wife's submission and her staying in her role, not trying to control what he was supposed to do and what he wasn't supposed to do. How well are you going to submit?
There go my wife right there.
That was a loaded question. First of all, to me, that was a loaded question.
Oh, absolutely.
Secondly, we were born in sin and raised in iniquity.
Uh-huh.
So we were born in sin and raised in iniquity, in terms of, our capacity to submit to Christ in reference to how we, play with them or how that plays off in reference to them. To me, that was a loaded question.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to answer her, let me answer her question though, because I kind of went off on a tangent. But to answer her question, can a man set has a man set a simple example of submitting to Christ, and that's absolutely valid. It's absolutely valid. But then you've got so many people that will kind of use that as an excuse, but it is a valid question. But at the same time, as a leader,
what does that look like? But what does that look like? So let's say it is a valid question, right? I wouldn't question or impugn the validity of it. But what does that look like?
Right.
When you know what I'm saying? What does that look like? The person that doesn't sin, or the person that doesn't, veer off, or what does that actually look like? Is what I would ask her. Because
then you have to ask yourself, is where that person is in their walk, because.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because there's increments of sanctification, thriving for salvation, getting better, however you want to put it. But there are increments to that. So if I'm at level 5, does that mean to you, if you're at a level 10, that I'm not where you need to be, or I'm not where I need to be? If you're at 10, and so it's like how can you measure that?
That's my point. How can you measure that? That's why I said it's a loaded question.
I feel like some of it is about protecting your process and also realizing if that person is worth your process.
Mm.
Now, when I say that, I mean, if I know I'm headed to one place and I'm a man and I'm trying to lead this house whole 9 yards, if this is my process, because I know God has given me this. Now, if you're trying to get on the same process with me, then yes, let's come on and let's go. But if you're not, what are we doing here? Because a lot of times women say, well, he ain't giving it to God, so why I need to?
Preach.
So why are you with me if you can't live? Like it's like saying, if you can't go with me through this process and we both get there together, then we don't need to do this at all.
Preach.
Right. Right.
That's good. Listen, I want to go to a comment, and then we're gonna take a break. This is so good. I think it's Jamal Hunter that said that is their go-to card. The woman's go-to card for her behavior is always pointing the man back to God. What do y'all think about that, Kings? What do y'all think about that comment?
I think that's valid what he said. A lot of women would do that as a way to kind of like it's a deflection. It's a way to like, you know what? Okay, let me do that. It reminds me of like with the Apollo Theater. I'm from New York. You want to win when you go to the Apollo Theater, sing a song about Jesus. Okay?
Right.
All right, you're gonna get snaps and hand claps because nobody wants to touch that.
Right.
Right.
Nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to go there, right? So it's one of those things where that is a Machiavellian move, if you will, a strategic Machiavellian move to go in that direction. You see, and that's the thing, man. We don't need, no Machiavellian moves, and just be stripped down, bare, raw, and just bring 100% of yourself to the love table. Period.
Right.
50-50.
I agree, and I think it's also a way of not taking responsibility, because this is the thing that we all have a responsibility in a relationship. And if you've joined with me, then it's a way of saying if I'm supposed to be your help, then if I'm supposed to be your help, what did you join to me for? Did you join to me for me to be your knight in shining armor and rescue you without you coming and adding legs to my vision?
Thank you.
Or you know what I'm saying? It's a way, and it's also a way of saying, where are you? But I'm not accounting for where I am.
Wow.
And so that's that it can, you know, saying you can look at it a couple of different ways. It's not that you shouldn't be pointed to God. It's not that, that card is not valid. It's when you're using it as a card.
There you go.
I also feel that we can take it back to church, because so often do leaders say the man should do this, the man should do that, instead of saying we both have to come to him for ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Because as a woman, yes, you're supposed to lead your man, but guess what? You got to have your own personal relationship with him. Mama can't do it for you, daddy can't do it for you, your husband can't do it for you. You got to have it for yourself. So to say, oh, well, I'm not doing it because he's supposed to be following God, blase, blase. Well, what are you doing yourself for God? I feel like oftentimes we don't challenge our own household.
Sam. One thing he said when taking it back to church, I was raised in a traditional Pentecostal setting, and whether people want to admit it or not, it was a lot of chauvinism, and a lot of times we beat submission women over the head with submission, and it was the man that's supposed to do this and the man is supposed to do that. So in some cases, I was in the session one time, and I was in a men's meeting in session, and the woman was teaching the class. I thought it was interesting, but she asked the question. She said, where did your household get to under your leadership? It's your household. You're the leader. Where did your household get to under your leadership? And so when you say taking it back to church, what were we teaching, and what foundation was set, for the man to be the end all be all, for him to be the head, for him to be this and him to be all these different things. And then we put the women here, we put them all on the other side. We put them on the other side of the church. They had to sit in their area. We sat up here. Listen, we put them over here. And then all of a sudden, somebody started reading the Bible and started realizing that in order to be a missionary in the church, you actually had to be going somewhere and not just be called it. So then, mission. So what did we build on in church when we kept, making women subservient, and not allowing them to actually really be who God wanted them to be in order to, in order to enlarge our call or our walk or who we were. I mean, that we have to own that too. We have to own that.
That's true. Absolutely.
So are we saying? I'm gonna say this. I swear I gotta take a break. So you said no women pastors and no women deacons?
No, I didn't say that at all.
No, he's not saying that.
No.
No,
what I'm saying,
I believe, Linton, if I can kind of try to shed light based off of what I received from what you're saying. I believe he was saying, based on us saying that women should this and that, even from the time coming up, it was said that women should be in one place and that's it.
Right.
But that's not what the truth of it is. The truth of it is we should both be coming together. Mm-hmm. If we're going to meet somewhere, let's meet in the middle of the sanctuary and then get to the altar.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
That's good. I love it.
That's it. Exactly. Thank you for clarifying that. But that's exactly what I meant.
That's good because some of us are so still, traditionally minded.
Right.
You're right, Linton. Back in the day, that's what they said, and even to today, you still have that going on in some religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna name them because I don't want to get in a lawsuit, but. Mm-hmm. But that is still going on, what you just said. So it's like, and some say you can't be a woman pastor, you can't be a woman deacon, but the Bible said, I read, says that I will pour out my flesh. This is what God said, I will pour out my spirit, among all flesh. I will pour out my spirit. This is God speaking upon all flesh. That means woman, man, boy, girl. It requires a cat, even dogs. They got those too. Listen, we're gonna take a break, and there's so many comments we have that I want us to go through as well. We have some more questions, and man, this is really good. Thank y'all for everybody that is tuning in right now. I really appreciate you guys. This is so powerful, man. This is so awesome. We're gonna take a break, and we're gonna come back with the Kings, and we're gonna talk about some other things and discuss some comments that are being put on the grid. I love it. And y'all, please share this on your platform that are watching. Let everybody know that the Kings are on the grid, man. We on Facebook, we on YouTube, and let's get these numbers up, man, because we got some knowledge going on. All right, stay tuned. Do not click off.
I'm in debt. I have 2 car payments, 4 years into a 30-year mortgage, balances on a couple credit cards, plus college for 3 kids on the horizon. 0 savings. I work long hours at a job that I hate. And despite all that, all I get is stress about how I can make more money. I take 4 pills at night for my back pain. Some days, getting up seems like too much. I struggle with dyslexia. I have high cholesterol. I overeat a little too often. I'm trying to get in shape. But it's never enough. My dad died 5 years ago from cancer. I should have seen him more before he passed. Man, I miss him so much. Everyone expects me to be over it, but it's something that I still deal with daily. I haven't taken my wife on a date in 4 months. I practically forgot our anniversary. My kids need me when I get home, but it's late. I want to sleep. I spend my weekends at their functions, as if that's enough. All this, and I still resent my family, because I have no time just for me! I can be amazingly selfish. I'm often angry, seemingly for no reason. I struggle with lustful thoughts, none of which my wife understands. Nor do I, for that matter. I'm good at some things, I'm great at nothing. I had dreams for my work and my family, and I abandoned them long ago. I think I'm a realist, and I come off as a pessimist. I feel restless knowing something is missing. I have too many burdens. They're suffocating. And this is the weight I carry.
Okay, what's up, you guys? Listen, thank you once again for joining when Black Kings Speak. We're having a great session here today. There's some great knowledge that are being put on a grid. People asking questions, and this is beautiful. I love it so very much. I think this is what we need in our community. We need hard conversations. We need to, as my wife calls it, confrontation. Confrontation ain't always bad. It's, depending on what your motive is and how you attack it, it can really be successful. Like tonight, today is just as successful. This is so powerful. I love this. And I just want to thank all my guests that are still on here, you all, for hanging out with us. And so let's get on into some other questions, and then we're gonna go to some comments, or maybe we should go to the comments. What do y'all think? Y'all want to go to some comments right quick? Or,
yeah, we can go to the comments.
Comments.
Yeah, let's go to the comments.
Comments.
Let's see what they say. Okay, so let's see here. I want to go. Let's go here. Tanya DeBoe says this. She says this: if you are in a relationship with someone, you know where the other person level is. So if they say that to you, I love them, then you invest in them and get them to the same level as you. What do y'all think about that?
She has to rephrase the question, because that question is not clear to me.
Well, let me see. It says, if you are in a relationship with someone, you know where the other person's level is. You know where their level is. It depends on.
You commented that when we were talking about the level of someone getting to God.
Oh, that. Okay. If they're talking about that, that's different.
Through their process and invest in them till they get to where you are. Okay. I don't know if that's exactly what she was saying, Tanya.
Yeah, I'm not really clear about the question.
I believe that's when she came on in. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, well, I mean, just to speak to that, if that's the case, it really depends on the relationship. It depends on the person, because this is the thing, is that when anyone's in a relationship, they're always trying to put their best foot forward a lot of times. And so you meet that person's representative. And so it's not until later on that you begin to hang out, then you begin to discover, as you're in that dating process, you begin to discover where that person actually really is. Now, by that time, you've invested already. So then I'd have to ask her, is that person willing to grow and willing to go to the next level? Because this is a thing, when it comes to something like that, when it comes to life, school, God, whatever, it has to be something. I can encourage you, but it has to be something that's in you that makes you want to grow and makes you want to do better for yourself. You got to love yourself. You got to want to push yourself. And I can speak to it, try to grow, try to help, and do all those different things. But yes, you can invest in that person and make them want to grow and make them want to do better. But it's really, really going to be up to them, up to that person, whether they really, really get to that place. You can invest. So then you have to ask the question, how long is investing before you see the return? How long is and especially if you're not, now, if you're married to the person, that's different. If you're in a relationship with that person, that's different. Because how long do you invest until that person decides they want to get married? How long do you invest until that person decides they want to be in a relationship with God and y'all unequally, you know what I'm saying? That can go. So I understand what Bruce is saying, because it has so many different facets to it.
But Wings, I believe a part of the problem also is we don't court anymore.
Right.
That's a very good point. Preach.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got courting.
Yeah.
You meet somebody, then you court them,
right.
then you date them.
Right.
I should be able to decipher through discernment what level you're on in the courting process.
Right.
That's a very good point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Before we even get to dating to be married
to
a relationship, I should be able to decide and decipher where you are in the courting process.
Right. Right. And I'm gonna say, and I totally agree with you. I thank God, my wife and I, we did a long distance relationship for months before we were able to see each other. That helped us. That helped us. She lived in Indiana. I lived in Houston. We had to get on the plane to see each other. But for me, that helped because, I'll just be perfectly honest. You get with somebody, you date them for a little while, then you end up having sex. And then it happens that way sometimes. But we were able to talk way more before entering into that sexual realm. We were able to talk a lot more way before that point, and actually talk to her parents, talk to her family. I met her mom and dad and all those different things, knew them for a while, but re-met them, talked to them again, did all of that. And Sam, that helped in the process of us knowing the level from the beginning. We didn't have to guess at the levels, because
you had to, being in two different places. How could you have come together had the community? But see, the craziest part about it is, and from what you're saying, the communication was at its best point before you enter into what people call the actual road well traveled.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Let's move on. Because we can be all night with that particular. I love it. That's good. I love it. So let me ask this question: are Black men intimidated by Black women, and therefore is it creating competition?
Intimidated? Are they intimidated by them? I don't think we're intimidated by them. I think that there is a movement afoot, like I said earlier, that will put them in position of power, right? At our expense a lot of times. So a lot of women, and it depends on the level of maturity of the man. Some men have a problem with a woman making more money than them. I don't. If you're in a relationship with a woman and she makes more money than you, then I'll be doing a happy dance right along with her. You know what I mean? It's like, because we're in this together, right? But you get a lot of people that are very insecure with that. And then that becomes very contentious. It becomes a bone of contention. And the next thing you know, mess hits the fan and yada, 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 yada. But for me personally, that's not an issue. That's a non-issue.
I like that. So let me ask this other question, because we're going to move on. I know normally we would be done by now, but this is so good. I was telling producer, I mean, we don't have a limit, but I want to keep it an hour because, people's attention span, but this is some good stuff. So let's see if we go about another 20 minutes, and then we're gonna call it quits. Let me ask this: sex before marriage in 2020, yes or no? This is gonna be quick fire. I just need yes or no. No, don't give me no.
No.
Just give me yes or no. Sex before marriage in 2020, yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
All y'all lied.
No, I mean, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. No, I mean, I'm not saying, you shouldn't.
It doesn't change no matter what I've done personally or what anybody's done personally. The standard is not supposed to change. It shouldn't change for anybody. I know people I know virgins today, grown women virgins. I know women who are holding themselves and keeping themselves. And it's not because opportunity hasn't happened. It's because of their stance and them, being celibate.
That's good. So, okay. So everybody's saying no. That's good. We're just gonna say no on the grid. That's. But listen, let me ask this question real quick. What do you think needs to happen for Black men and women to come back together on one accord? What do y'all think needs to? What do y'all think needs to happen? Or process or some type of strategy for us as Black men and women to come back on one accord?
Healing, forgiveness, healing. James Baldwin said it best. He said, love is so desperately sought, but so cunningly avoided. Love makes us take off the mask we know we can't live without and know we can't live within. So to answer your question, it's healing with ourselves first. Hurt people.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So there's an analogy about forgiveness and reconciliation.
Absolutely.
Reconciliation is there's forgiveness where you actually turn to the person and you face them. That's forgiveness. And then there's the process of reconciliation. That's actually everything that's going on in between. And so a lot of times what we say is, and people use it as a scapegoat. They say, I forgive you, but I don't have to like you. I don't have to love you. I forgive you though. But they forget that there's a process of reconciliation. Reconcile. We need to reconcile. There needs to be a reconciling. There needs, and like I agree with Bruce and with Sam. Just there needs to be forgiveness, and then but we can't just say we forgive. There's got to be some work. There's got to be some work that goes into that.
Okay.
Long story short,
I feel like most of the forgiveness comes from the past,
right?
Because our today is affected so much by our past. Mm-hmm. My daddy did this, so I really hate men because of this.
Mm-hmm.
My mama left me, so I really don't appreciate women in this. Like, so much has happened in our past to get to our present that we haven't really forgiven, because in our culture, it's sad to say, therapy is frowned upon.
Exactly. That's why we need the healing.
Right. There you go, right there.
To actually release something. Oh man, ain't nobody trying to hear that, man. Suck it up and just keep going.
Right.
No, like that's the like we don't forgive through things. You know, and I feel like that's that for us to all come together, like true forgiveness from the past will help in our today.
That's good. I like that.
And then I think a part of that is we're gonna have to humble ourselves. I think both sides are we're gonna have to humble ourselves in order to be able to unlearn and relearn. Because what you learn from mama, what you learn from daddy, what you learn from auntie, that could have been toxic information. And when you find information that can actually be healing and healthy, and sometimes it will come from our mental health experts, our psychologists and our counselors. Sometimes that information can help us, but a lot of times we don't have enough trust to go to those people. We don't have enough trust to, but if we humble ourselves and realize there are other things that work besides what mama told you, what you saw mom and daddy do, what you saw me go. If you humble yourself enough to really be able to unlearn and relearn some things from people, and let's just stop taking information just from anybody. But you look at people's lives who are not just seemingly successful, but actually living successful lives. It doesn't mean they have a lot of money. It doesn't mean they have a lot of things, but they're living in peace. You know, Bible says follow peace in all men. I mean, you have to follow peace. Follow where peace is, and don't just follow the people that got stuff, because that's real big right now. Everybody branding themselves. Everybody look at Facebook. See me videos. See me. See my face. See my. I got this app that's gonna change my face. That's gonna change my look. No, follow things that are gonna. Okay, go ahead, sir. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's a very good point.
We gotta get out of here.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. My wife told me to shut up too. Go ahead.
It's all good. Anyway, so 2 more questions and then we're gonna be out. So let me ask you this, because I want to stay on topic. Do you think black men dating out of their race is a result of not liking black women, or is it just curiosity?
No, not really. It doesn't. If they date out of their race, that's not a result. Always, that's a non sequitur. You know, if a black man dates out of his race, that is like just by design. Some people just fall in love with people of a different race or what have you. It doesn't mean that they necessarily hate black women or they're not into black women. So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Okay, cool. I actually don't either. I was curious. I didn't date, but I was curious about outside of my race. I was like, okay. What is that going to be like? Can I just be real? What is that going to feel like?
So are we talking about dating? Are we talking about just dating outside of our race or experimenting outside of our race?
Dating, experimenting, just outside of your race. Just being with another.
I feel like a lot of black men might experiment outside of the race, but not technically take home outside of our race.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, that's good.
Because of what was instilled into us.
Right.
Growing up, a black man and say a Caucasian woman walking down the street together, what's wrong with them? He shouldn't be doing that. You know, all of that. So, black men then decide, hey, let me see, what's the difference?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I do know. I will say
it comes from when you get black men that'll be like, "Oh, I'm not messing with no black woman whatsoever." Now you're talking self-hate. Now that's different.
Exactly. But I will say that sometimes black you have people that are raised, and I go back to what Sam said. Is really huge. Is you have people that are raised differently, and when they're raised differently, unfortunately, if I'm a black young man. I grew up in a black affluent family, and my mom and dad have taught me values about money, values about working, values about these different things. It's not that can't be found in a black woman in your race. It's all in how you were raised. But if I find an individual who has these same qualities, that looks at money the same way, that looks at and sometimes people's worldviews are different. And so sometimes people marry based on their worldview, what their worldview has been. It has nothing to do with how that person looks as far as skin wise. It's about their worldview and their values and that type of thing. So, you know, that happens.
All right. Well, listen, guys, thank y'all so much. We just really ran way over time, and my producer.
No, this was fun.
But this was really good. Maybe we should do a part 2 or something.
Absolutely, let's do it.
I want you guys to definitely keep this lifted up in prayer, because you know I would love to see this go on a national television show or syndication or something, because I just really think the conversation is needed. Not to be famous, but to really have a candid conversation, because I'm that host that's like, yo, I'm real about it, yo. I'm about that life, because I think people need to talk. It needs to be confronted, and having this conversation with you guys, you kings, man, y'all are some awesome men. I just want to really
appreciate you having me.
You guys are awesome men of God. You're awesome in your own rights and what you do. You're awesome husbands. You're awesome businessmen. You're awesome friends. You know, and I thank every last one of you. My new friend Bruce George, my longtime friend Edson, and my brother Sam Ross. He's also my friend too. I just love you guys so much. And everybody that's on here, if y'all can just reach out to these guys, let me show you their media. Y'all can hit up Linton Weems at right there, Linton Eugene Weems Jr. Facebook and Instagram. Y'all can hit up my man Bruce George. Bruce George what's that thing called? Instagram, yeah. That old lady is kicking in, and Jesus is coming on Facebook. I wish we had time for you to really talk about that, George. Maybe I can bring you on and you can talk about that movement, because it's a really good movement. My wife and I joined that movement. And then, last but not least, my brother, y'all follow Sam Ross. I am the Sam Ross at Instagram, Sam Ross at Facebook, and yeah. So that's what it is. I love y'all so very much.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for having us.
Love you too, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate you so very much. And you guys rock, man. Y'all really do. Y'all rock. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. And y'all be easy, man. And let me give you my last remarks. And you guys stay online. Kings, y'all stay online so I can talk y'all after. I just want to say thank y'all, everybody that has stick with us. What, 25 minutes over? And I appreciate you for hanging out. It was some really good questions, some good comments. I didn't get to everybody's comment, but I really enjoyed you guys even making comments. This is good. We're going to keep doing this once a month. We'll have our next one next month, every 4th Saturday of each month. That's what we're going to be doing. So y'all be looking out for the Kings when Black Kings speak. And let me do this one last announcement, and then we're out. Listen, on next Saturday, this time next Saturday, we're having a prayer and unity rally August 1st in the Central District. We're going to be coming together as a family, intercessors, pastors, worship leaders, whatever you do, musicians. We're going to come together and pray for our community, for our city, for our region, and for the nation. We're going to come together for 3 hours. We're going to have some awesome praise and worship music. We got some great artists going to be ministering. We have some amazing intercessions that will be praying specifically, and we have some inspirational speakers that are going to be speaking. It's going to be amazing. I want you guys, if you're in the Seattle area, all the way from Everett, all the way to Tacoma, y'all come on to the Central District, right there, 23rd and Jackson. It's at the Starbucks parking lot. Y'all know where it's at. It's right there in the heart of the city. I want you guys to meet me there, meet us and the Holy Spirit there. It's going to be amazing. And I need y'all there. I just need y'all help. I want to show the city that we as believers, body of Christ, Christians, we're still alive and we're still well, and we got power. Because on that day, God's going to show up mighty. He's going to show up so mighty. It's going to be phenomenal, right? So August 1st, next Saturday, 1 to 4, meet me at 23rd and Jackson in the Central District as we pray for our city. All right. Let me pray for you guys, and we're going to be out of here. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift his countenance on you and give you peace. And may the blood of Jesus cover you. And may the Holy Spirit begin to arise and cover you and burn any evil spirits that try to attack you or attach themselves to it. Let those spirits be burnt, melted, and annihilated in Jesus' name. Amen. I love y'all so very much. We'll see you next month. Keep us in your prayers. God bless you. And I'm out of here. Mwah.